Is it still worth it to become a doctor? Well, I'm going to give you my perspective after going through 4 years of med school, 3 years of residency, and 3 years of gastroenterology fellowship, a subspecialization specialty. Now, to answer the question, is it worth it to become a doctor? The answer to me is always yes, but that's because I have a reason why I always wanted to be a doctor. What you need to understand if you're contemplating this question, you need to know that the entire journey of becoming a doctor, the decade plus 4 years of med school, 3 to 5 to 7 years of residency, plus 1 to 3 years of fellowship, that's about a whole decade. You need to understand that that decade you spend is learning medicine, is learning human management, is learning how to treat disease. But right after you finish training, immediately after, you're no longer learning medicine. In fact, you have to practice the business of healthcare. Now, going back to the question, should you become a doctor? That the question should be, do you want to work in the business of healthcare? This is the actual question, because being a doctor does not keep you isolated from the market forces that pressure you in a certain direction. The other thing I want you to really, really ask yourself is, why do you want to be a doctor? Who do you want to serve? Instead of trying to serve yourself and say, oh, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be respected in my community, I'm going to make a lot of money, and then I'm going to just feel good about myself every single day. There are threads of that reality that are true, but the bumpy road to get in there, a lot of people cannot handle it. It's going to change your personality along the way. It's going to change the people who enter and exit your life along the way. It's going to change how you see the world and your attitude towards other human beings. It's going to change your understanding and appreciation for life and death situations. So there's a lot of things that you have to kind of take into consideration when you think about becoming a doctor, whether you're in your early 20s, mid 20s. Your values and your determination and your body hormones, the power and strength, the stamina to keep going and fighting day and day and pull all-nighters and stay up late and have poor nutrition eating Taco Bell for weeks on end, that changes when you're in your 30s. You can't keep doing that. And your goals change if you start a family. Your family structure changes. Your goals change. In your mid 30s, you may not want to be on call at 3 a.m. on a Thursday night and then have to work the next day at 7 a.m. Your body can't tolerate certain things anymore the way it wanted to when you were a 21-year-old who wanted to be a Superman brain surgeon. So keep that in mind. A lot of people, when they want to become a doctor, they have no understanding of what it looks like working in the healthcare business. Now, the healthcare business is very, very complicated. The market forces are not working in favor of the doctors. Even though doctors make a good salary, the amount of work it takes to make that salary is not compensatory. It does not line up with the amount of work we do and the amount of stress we suffer. You can debate this all you want, but unless you're a doctor, you have no idea what you're talking about. If you say doctors are overpaid, you really just need to not even open that discussion. I'm going to open it in another video to show you how you don't know what you're talking about. Number 3, when you graduate after your training, there's different specialties of being a doctor. There's different flavors. And what people don't realize who want to be doctors is that each path of being a doctor is a complete different universe than the other path. Being a neurologist is way different than being a pathologist who never sees a patient in their life. They're just looking at a microscope for the rest of their career. Whereas a radiologist is sitting in a dark room and also may not interact with patients unless they're doing certain procedures such as placing drains or interventional radiology procedures. Whereas a heart surgeon has a very, very difficult life and is always in the OR, and their personal life is taking a massive hit at the expense of the adrenaline rush of being in the operating room saving a life. Now, there are personalities that are not fit for medicine. There are insecure and non-confident personalities who are severely introverted that may struggle along the way of being a doctor, because in your training you have to talk to so many different people. You have to gain confidence. Now, there's a lot of people that evolve out of this quirky, weird, insecure, underdeveloped personality, but some people never leave that. And to be honest, there's a lot of weirdo doctors out there. We all met them. You get assigned to a primary care doctor or a specialist doctor, and you say, wait, how are you a doctor? You're super weird. Yes, those people exist. You don't want to be that type of doctor. The type of doctor you want to be is someone who's well spoken, who can tap into the emotions and navigate the emotional needs of any patient, no matter what they look like, who they vote for, or what they believe in. You have to be able to be isolated from your belief systems when you manage patients. A lot of people can't do that. You have to force yourself to be agnostic to other people's belief systems when you treat them. You can't come in believing such and such and being so adamant about something which is going to affect how you treat your patients. Now, you can have your own belief systems, but you can't bring it to work. Let's talk on the next level of residency. Residency is a time where, depending on what type of residency you go into, you're going to suffer, but the reward and satisfaction is immense. It's massive. Being able to gain a skill set and learn how to manage sick patients in the hospital, whether you're a surgeon or a non-surgical resident, it is a very, very rewarding sensation. And even though your physical body is exhausted, your cerebral cognitive brain is so happy and fulfilled. And I can speak to the majority of residents. However, there's a huge voice out there. You can go online, Reddit, or any website and see that the quality of life of residents is not that good. But it all depends on the spectrum you come from. If you're coming from a international medical graduate perspective and you flew overseas and your family's overseas and your quality of life was very low, and you come here and you're making 65, 70 grand a year, that perspective is different than someone who grew up in a very wealthy household and their parents want them to be doctors, and now they had to downgrade their lifestyle. They're not living on the ranch with four-wheelers and horses and all the wealth that they've enjoyed previously. So the dichotomy of perspective is going to depend on what your background is and how strong your mission is to become that doctor that you envision yourself being. Now, whatever type of doctor you thought you were going to be, you're not going to be in the end. This is because the market forces are not going to allow you to express yourself or build the type of practice you want. You're actually going to have to find accommodations in whatever market force exists, whether it's private equity, healthcare systems, private practice. It's certain fields have different structures and different balances in this territory. There's so much to say. Drop me a comment, drop me a question about what you want to learn about. I would love to share all the details because I wish I knew this information while I was in training. But the long, short answer to should you become a doctor, the answer is yes, go for it. The future is bright, and there's always a way where you can find fulfillment practicing as a physician and working in the healthcare business, because it is a massive global industry and you can always find your lane or create your lane. That's my belief. Subscribe, hit the like, let me know what you think. I'm trying out a new style. I'm going to answer more questions in the future. Appreciate you for tuning in. Don't trust me, trust your gut reaction. Peace.